I'd like to thank you all for coming. I know this sort of gig is a bit unconventional for you lot, but,
The man dressed in plain drab clothes in front of you pauses for a moment, a look of concern firmly cemented on his face.
I'll give near anything to make this all stop. Though I don't have much. What I do have, well, it's unique, you might say.
He looks at all of you, unsure how to read your level of interest, probably because your minds and eyes are boggled by the extraordinary amount of trinkets and baubles that are hanged, mounted, dangled, and arranged around the entire room, all made of some sort of glittering glass, abstract shapes, meticulous animals and beasts, drinking vessels, bowls, pitchers, vases, dewdrops, all expertly made, beautiful, yet somehow exceptionally tacky. The farmer resigns to continuing his explanation.
Poachers is what you're after. And not the clever type, mind you, but determined nevertheless. See, I farm snails, but a special sort of snail. A sort of snail that doesn't exactly come from these parts, or any parts, matter of fact. Otherworldly, some might call them, but they make for a good living, at least.
He gestures to all the bric-a-brac and curios overflowing every nook and cranny. In your silence, he seems to sense your confusion, or perhaps simply your lack of understanding.
Anyway, they got one of my snails the other day, but they didn't get what they came for. And so if you take care of these poachers, well, what they wanted is yours, see? The shell, I mean. That's what's left over. It's got some special properties, as I understand it, and as they learned the hard way. But what they plan to do with it, I don't rightly know, but perhaps that's the sort of information you could pry out of them, and put the shell to better use. By any means, it's quite valuable on the surface, I hear, worth thousands of your gold coins, so I'm told. It's a fair trade, and I'm trusting your confidence, too, so as not to attract more attention, you see. So what do you say? I'd even throw in your favorites of my collection. Are you interested?
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them.
Well, hello there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This. My name is James, Iridescent Kid, and with me, as always, is Freeman Love Dart Easton. That's a sexy one.
Isn't it?
Today, my co-host, who shall forever be named Love Dart, will be taking us through Flail Snails on Volo's Guide to Monsters on page 144. So I don't know anything about the Flail Snails other than that I absolutely love the artwork.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between and on the outside, I am Love Dart, your host. I'm taking you through the Flail Snail, and you're right, the artwork is great. What I love about the artwork, I might just cover it right now, is that every single one, and there's not that many, but they all are great. They're all like hyper detailed. There's like 1E art; it's got way more lines than I've ever seen in a 1E art. The 2E art is like outrageously detailed. We have 5E art, which is the only one in color. And I have 2 more images from Dragon Magazine, which are just, basically just 2 more perspectives on a snail, a giant snail, essentially. But they're all just really, really well detailed, and they all look great.
And we're sure that's 1E art?
Well, it's 1E art according to Forgotten Realms wiki. I didn't really dive in too hard for an original source.
Okay. It's just that we don't normally see that much black lining in one art, which is
not
I
always.
love it.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. That 2 art is just one of the most gorgeous pieces of art I think we're gonna share.
Crazy good. It's for a snail, like of all creatures to get that much detail and awesomeness, it's the Flail Snail. But let me tell you about this creature and what it looks like, so that you'll have a better idea what we're talking about. So the Flail Snail, as you would guess, is a snail, and it is in fact a creature of elemental earth. It looks very much like a large snail. Its head, however, is comprised of 5 tentacles, similar to eye stalks, but with spiky mace-like growths on the ends. If you look at some of the older artwork, you'll see some sensory appendages that are a little bit more like eye stalks than these tentacles. And then the 5e art specifically, they're more in like a mouth area and are a little bit less like eye stalks, but still very similar.
Yeah, the 5e art's really akin to the 1e art, whereas the 2e art and the Dragon magazine stuff definitely has like proper eye stalks.
Right, yeah, and all 3 of those are literally in Dragon magazine, so they are from the exact same source and edition.
That makes sense then. Yeah.
So very consistent. So their body ranges from brown to reddish orange, and the shell that they have shines with iridescent colors. And if they are left undisturbed, the snail meanders slowly along the ground, consuming everything on the surface. But in particular, they consume rocks, soil, minerals, etc. And it only stops. It actually constantly moves. The only time it stops is to feast on large mineral deposits or crystal formations and to savor them. So it really, really enjoys the flavors of those. But otherwise, constant motion, albeit quite slow. As it travels, it leaves behind a shimmering trail that solidifies into a thin layer of nearly transparent substance that the snail finds inedible or presumably undigestible. This glassy residue is harvested by some, and Wizards of the Coast became strangely vague with why and what for in their own wording. So this glassy residue can be, quote, cut to form window panes of varying clearness. So I thought stained or shaded glass, you probably could have said. But then they continued, they can also be, quote, heated and spun into glass objects of other sorts, which is extremely vague. So I thought blown glass, perhaps?
Yeah, it sounds like they just didn't have a glass-making consultant on hand.
Those things that people do. Yeah, you could do with that.
Yeah. All right. I love that lore so far. I did not expect this creature to be of elemental earth.
Right. Yeah. Right. They almost look, especially so with 5e again, it's the only one with color. They give off a fire vibe because they have this. The tentacles are like this bright, glowing reddish orange, I guess, and then the body is more orange as well, with the blue dominating the iridescent shield. Bits of orange and pink throughout. Yeah. To me, at least the body itself gives off a fiery vibe, but no, very much earth.
Awesome.
Yeah. So as it stands to reason that some people actually make a living on the collection of this residue. So becoming using it in their glassmaking processes. But hunters also seek out this creature for its prized multi-hued shell, and are often lulled into a false sense of security as the creature appears ponderous and very non-hostile. However, whenever any creature large enough to be a threat approaches, they are met with flashes of scintillating light, followed by attacks from its mace-like tentacles.
Oh, that's cool. So it uses its mirror-coated shell to blind them and then just smashes them with its head.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
And it goes further because that shell it's very valuable in more ways than one. It weighs up to about 250 pounds or 113 kilograms, so it ain't light, and it sells for about 5,000 gold. And the reason
That's
it sells
so much.
Yeah, so it's so much in 5e. It's so much gold. The reason it sells for so much is that it has anti-magic properties, and a skilled armorer can actually make about 3 shields from a single shell, and the anti-magic properties will remain on the shield for 1 month, after which they fade. And then an exotic shield is left behind that can be made into a spell guard shield.
Cool.
Yeah, and we'll discuss the Spellguard Shield later. Also, the shell can be ground up into powder and then added to dye, which is then put into a garment, and also used as a material component in a ritual that enchants robes or some sort of garment equivalent to create a magic item called the Robe of Scintillating Colors.
Okay, I'm familiar with that item, and
Okay.
I fucking love that item. It's
Okay.
so neat.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Again, I'll discuss it later. I'm going to save those 2 items for the mechanics later.
Okay, cool.
Because they are directly reflected with the stat block itself. But that's pretty much it for 5e lore. Plain and simple. It's really good, but it's nothing complicated.
Yeah, which is what we've come to expect. I mean, this thing in the monster manual, it takes up a full page, but its lore is only 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, the rest of it's stat block. And I knew this creature was going to be interesting mechanically wise. I didn't think it would be quite as interesting story wise, lore wise. And I do really like what's there so far. And of course, I found an article in Dragon Magazine. That's where the artwork's coming from, and there is the ecology of the flail snail. And
Awesome.
I've so grown to love these. The title of this article is called "The Price of Failure."
Magic. Do we know who wrote this one?
I could tell you real quick. This one is written by Jonathan M. Richards, and the
Cool.
illustrations by Brad McDevitt.
Nice.
The most of the article is like a storytelling sort of thing. Where there's a meeting of There's a meeting of the Monster Hunters Association. They're opening like a meeting, and they're talking about various things. So it's a really good read, but also it just comes with like really fine print footnotes across the board that just give facts about the flail snail and its ecology. So that's where I've ripped most of this information, but it's well worth a read. It's easy enough to find these Dragon Magazine PDFs online as well, so I recommend people going and check them out. And of course, it'll be in our reading list. But
Awesome.
Here's just a few things that I thought were interesting. There was a lot, actually, and I just picked my favorite parts, or the most applicable as well. But according to Dragon Magazine, in this article, The Price of Failure, they had limited sight from their small sensory appendages on the head, and being able to differentiate between light and dark and detect movement, but only out to a range of 20 feet. Which I thought was pretty cool. To me, that's almost like adding to that lulling you into a false sense of security, where you could get like 30 feet away, 25 feet away, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, this thing's not responding. It's going to be an easy kill, and suddenly you're in 20, 15 range, and it just turns on you, and boom, flash of light, which is reasonably important given what the range is going to be when we get to the mechanics. But these sensory appendages, they were. Because of this limited sight, it effectively made them immune to visual-based illusions, because they just didn't really rely on their sight very much. And
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and spells like light or continual flame, there is a strategy where you can cast those onto like appendages and stuff. So these are sensory organs on appendages. You cast them on there, and you can effectively blind the creature. However, it's not overly effective with this creature in particular, because of the actual sight being such a small portion of its sensing movement. And it also detects through air vibrations for a larger portion. And these appendages have a highly developed olfactory senses. So in 2E mechanics, and I'm sure this would be reasonably easy to translate, they only suffered, instead of being a full blinded condition, they only suffered a -1 penalty to attack rolls and no penalty to AC at all. So it's just a, good idea, but it's not going to be nearly as effective on this creature as you'd think.
Yeah. I like that change to the rule, though. That's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they got the blinding condition, but the blinding condition now seems to be altered, or depending on what your order of operations would be. Here's one of my favorite parts. They had justified their immunity. So skipping ahead a little bit, Earth Elemental, you pretty much can guarantee they'll be immune to poison and some such. That's a pretty standard thing. In this case, they explained it away by stating that the Flail Snail has a very slow metabolism, which means that it doesn't give the poison a chance to actually affect the body before the body has broken it down. And yeah, so it's just like because the poison needs to spread through your body, through your bloodstream, and hit the vital spots, right? But because it all flows so slowly on the inside, that it ends up being broken down by the internal fluids or what have you before it can actually reach the parts that the poison would attack. So that's why they're immune. I love that.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Yeah, and their immunity to fire is also via not only their shell being immune itself, but a protective mucus layer on its body. Which also, skipping ahead of my own notes here, that protective mucus layer also makes them more resistant to things like salt. So salt being, this sort of thing we all know that affects snails or slugs in the real world, and was at times, I don't know if it's done in 5e so much, or if it comes up, but it has been in the past, weakness to salt when it comes to creatures like this, which is a very atypical mechanic, but it is there. Getting back into a little more of the biology, the tentacles on their heads were said to weigh about 10 pounds each. And despite the most illustrations, there's supposed to be knobby protrusions on these mace-like flails and not spikes. So you can see in the 5e art, very specifically spiky.
Yeah.
But the 1e art as well, but the 2e stuff, where a lot of this is coming from, they very much are knobby and blunt.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It is starkly different to the 1 and 5e art. Those are very clearly spines or spikes or whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, which I think is important for determining damage type, right? But we'll get to that when we get to the mechanics as well.
I think it also makes sense for the nomenclature. If I'm not mistaken, a flail is a blunt object, whereas a morning star is a spiked one.
Yeah, but you can have a flail with a spiked head as well. I don't know if you just call it a spiked flail, I think, but it's not like they couldn't have it. They just maybe generally didn't.
With just a single spike?
No, I like multiple spikes.
I think that's called a morning star.
Oh, I thought a morning star was like a single rod with a ball in the head, the spiky ball in the head, not like a chain.
Oh, maybe you might be right. Yeah, just like a spiked mace.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think that's what it is. We're looking at mace flail. That's the difference is the chain, and then you can spike them or don't.
Yeah,
and that's about it. Yeah, maybe it's not nearly as complicated as we think. But these 10-pound tentacles, they could smash through 1-inch thick wood with ease, more or less. And so I kind of love this too. It's an old mechanic, but if you were wielding a wooden shield, that shield would have to make a saving throw against one of these hits.
Oh, cool! I like that.
Yeah.
I don't miss equipment having saving throws, but I miss equipment being able to be damaged.
Right, especially in particular scenarios,
Mm-hmm. Like this is a very, very specific use case. Like I can't think of any class other than a druid ever wielding a wooden shield.
Right,
but that's cool.
Pretty much. Yeah. Oh,
I wonder if it would affect bark skin too, which would be kind of neat.
Oh, yeah, that would be kind of neat. That would be neat to like sort of bypass the AC bonus that offers or something.
Yeah,
that's a cool idea. I like that a lot. Inspiration. Yeah. This article also mentions another book, which I thought was kind of interesting. It points out the Monstrous Compendium 5, Greyhawk Adventures, in which that book claims that flail snails give birth to 1 to 3 young and are silicon-based gastropods, and it specifically makes references to females and mothers. Dragon Magazine goes out of its way to correct this, stating that they are indeed hermaphroditic like most land-dwelling snails and produce both sperm cells and eggs, and they are still gastropods, however. I just thought it was funny. They basically, the magazine retconned its own lore or some such.
Take that, Gygax.
Yeah. And, through the they do need to sort of mate in a way, though, in order for this to work. So as much as they are hermaphroditic, they need to find another snail to collaborate with, and they do so by exchanging packets of sperm with another snail, and then they part ways. The exchange is through projecting love darts into each other's bodies. And so
is that how like regular ass snails reproduce?
It is actually, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, because this seems very familiar to me.
So it wasn't to me when I was reading this. So I was like, what the hell did I just read? I was so confused. They project love darts into each other's bodies. Is this some sort of coy way of saying coitus? I don't know. And there's a quote. I took a quote because I love it. I'll start and end the quote. So start quote. Flail snails cannot produce sperm without first having sampled their own or their intended mate's love darts. Hey, it works for them. End quote. Like, this is just
that's
cheeky.
Pretty fantastic.
Yeah. So I thought I actually thought this guy was like making this stuff up. I actually have a picture here. I'll throw it in the Discord now. This is an actual love dart of a snail under like a microscope, and they look like an arrow. And they are thought to be where the Cupid's arrow mythology comes from.
I don't think I believe that at all. But yeah, I don't think if this is what it looks like under a microscope, there's no world in which ancient Greece people saw this.
I mean, fair. However, the size of real life snails varies tremendously. So
does it?
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. But maybe we'll come back to it in a sec.
Okay.
Just finishing up on the old reproduction. They basically, after about a month after this exchange, a dozen or so eggs are laid, but only 1 to 3 will actually hatch. They'll eat their own eggshells and then are carried by their adult for about 2 years or until the flails reach a weight of about 5 pounds. And then, so the last point here, I got 2 more points. The mucus serves as a lubricant for them to move, so they actually can't travel without it. And it secretes from a gland in its single foot. And I did say this already, makes them a little more resilient to the effects of salt, though not impervious.
It just sounds like you're reading me off the ecology of a regular garden snail, except for the 5 pound part. Like this seems to be, if I remember my biology correctly, pretty close to actually how gastropods work.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they certainly did their research on this one, and they seem to usually for these ecology articles, which is really great. I almost feel like whoever gets assigned one of these articles is just doing something similar to what we're doing for this show. We just pick a specific thing and just research the hell out of it.
Yeah, I think they have to.
Yeah.
And then, obviously tweak and edit and make it fantastical.
Of course.
But this is, if I remember my biology correctly, like this is just what they do.
Mm-hmm. This how snail do. Now, flail snails are also known to hibernate. Now, they used the word estivate in the article, but I think they did so incorrectly. But real-world snails do estivate or can estivate. So I think that's where the mix comes in. So if you don't know what estivate is, it's the opposite of hibernate, essentially. It's a summer months hibernation, if you will. And so flail snails specifically respond to the lack of food in winter, so they gorge themselves and hide away for the season. That's hibernation. Estivation is a response to higher temperatures and arid climates in the summer season. And the snails in this case are specifically said to not be responding to that, but the growing lack of food and vegetation instead. And that's why I think they misspoke. I think they used the wrong word and described the opposite. However, there is mention of them having response to the possibility of warmer air drying out their mucus. So now I'm at the point of getting mixed signals. So they kind of seem to have failed in this area of the research a little bit. No offense. I forget your name already.
Not necessarily. Yeah. It could just be confusing. Like maybe if the temperatures become too arid, they estivate, and that's right. It.
But like what I read, it didn't clarify it. It just like insisted on they hibernate, but then described estivation, and just specifically said they don't estivate. And you're like, okay, well, but they do, because you're kind of going this direction and that direction.
Yeah, I appreciate that that's what you focused on, and not that we've already established their food is rocks and minerals. So why would they have a lack of food in the winter months?
Well, there's your conflict of editions there, 2e versus 5e.
Right.
I guess there's some. It's possible they could continue to move on and eat vegetation as well. I don't see that being outside of the realm of reality, but yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. It does go out of its way to say that any flails that live underground, which you would presume are the ones eating the most minerals and rocks, are unaffected by this at all, because there's no seasons to affect them.
That was my initial thought, but we haven't established that they live anywhere other than underground. So
nothing said they do or don't so far. Actually, they just eat rocks and minerals, but it's just more likely they would, because that's where they're going to be the most abundant, right?
I mean, you don't really get. Well, I mean, maybe I'm mistaken. If we have any geologists in the audience, please write in. But I don't think you get minerals above ground.
But they also eat soil. Soil's fine. Mineral-rich soil can exist, of course, right? Rocks. Right. They could just be dwelling on the side of a mountain. I mean, surely one underground is going to be the most prosperous, but.
And they said they were silicon-based. Is that right?
At one point, it was claimed that specifically the lore that was being corrected or retconned specified silicon, but the correction didn't mention it either. So again, mixed signals.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's a drastic revamp of the creature. It's a pretty aggressive reboot here. So it makes sense that they would revamp all of it. As new knowledge came about. But interesting. I like that they amended themselves, and they did so in canon, which I really like. I really, really appreciate when that happens, because it a lot of the times it feels like these editions aren't building upon each other, but we're getting like softer reboots of everything every time a new edition comes out. So when they go back and retcon, like, oh yeah, we learned more information about the Flail Snails.
Right, and it turns out we were wrong. Like such a better route. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. That's one of the things I appreciate the most about Pathfinder 2e, is that it's essentially just a sequel.
Right, yeah. It is great, because this is a much more mild version of what we touched on before. It's like, when we talk about bullywugs, and, it's like, just give us the, according to, they are like this, and they are these nasty creatures that are evil and vile and what have you. But that's like according to a certain perspective that is flawed. And here we have this evidence of 2e just doing that to itself forever ago, and in a much more mild manner. And it's great. It makes for great reading. But anyway, the final point is that the flail snail's stomach and liver can be ground and mixed with its blood to make valuable ingredients for an elixir of health, which, for those who don't know, cures diseases and removes paralyzed, deafened, blinded, and poisoned conditions. Also, the skin and mucus can be similarly used to create a potion of fire resistance.
I like that. I don't think they needed to include mucus in there. The mucus could have easily been a potion of salt resistance, or like you add a little bit of flail snail mucus to your soup if you've oversalted it. I think would be a really cool way to use that.
Yeah, well, there is another use of the mucus, which is non-conventional. It's an unconventional method of making a potion of climbing.
I can see why that would be unconventional.
Yeah. Part of the unconventional part, though, is that it's extra thick and it took longer to imbibe, which just sounds awful.
Yeah. It sounds terrible.
It just does not sound like a good time at all.
like drinking a cup of honey. Like
But,
you'd probably
salty
just
honey.
suffocate. You'd probably just drown. Like I don't know
Yeah,
if you
right?
could do that.
Yeah. Surely it's diluted a bit.
I guess it's just honey with a splash of brandy.
Well, that's it for D&D lore. That's it. I've cut myself off. Half of it was mechanic talk. I couldn't help myself. But overall, I think pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like these guys. Simple. But I just have awesome ideas.
Simple in all the right ways, but
Right.
complicated in all the ways you'll never use as a GM that are fucking dope.
I picture these creatures as an integral part of a particular culture in the Underdark or some such, where someone is like farming them and utilizing them for certain reasons, or like trying to capture one for something. But anyway, I'm gonna list you off a few fun facts about snails, because of course there is no mythology around a snail with mace-like tentacles that I could find.
I really wish there was.
Yeah, me too.
This deep ancient Roman.
It would have been such a great surprise.
Yeah.
But there are a couple cool facts about snails here. The only measurable difference between a snail and a slug, you may or may not know, is the outer shell. That's it. Otherwise, they're the same.
I did know that. Why do I know so much about gastropods?
I don't know. And there are some slug families that actually have internal shells on the insides of their bodies. Salt on a slug or snail kills it. We know this. But do you know why, James?
I believe... fuck. I knew at one point. I think it has to do with the chlorine.
See, it's not. Well, unless...
Oh, it's the sodium?
So basically, it's not a complicated chemical reaction like most people seem to believe, that it's like some combination of what's in their body and this salt, and it's making it all like explode and expand and react. What it is very simply a super quick dehydration process. And snails have a need for extremely high water content in their bodies. They're dependent on it. And so if you add salt, it just it accelerates a rapid dehydration, and they die from that. Plain and simple.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely thought their bodies just absorbed the salt too quickly, and then the chlorine leached into whatever they would call bloodstream, and it was like toxic poisoning, but it's just the sodium's reaction to water.
So you're just pulling the water out of their body. Yeah, plain and simple. Entirely too fast. Poor guys. Snails are not endemic. They live everywhere on Earth, which I think is pretty cool. And very adorably, they prefer to eat together. They will join another snail feasting even if another food source is readily available for them.
That's pretty cute.
Isn't it? The world's smallest snail has a shell only 0.3 inches tall, or 0.762 millimeters, and can fit through the eye of a needle.
That's really tiny.
Although technically smaller exists, but anything that is 0.02 inches or smaller has a separate classification of microgastropod.
I guess that makes sense.
Surely. But that's it. Those are your fun facts about snails today. Hope you enjoyed.
I did.
This has been Love Dart Easton. And that, of course, brings us to the rather lengthy ingestion of a beautiful black male stout, along with the lengthy stat block.
Excellent. Excellent.
I'm not going to lie, I wish the CR was higher, but I'm glad it's not like a CR half.
We should just record that as a drop.
just we should just cut our theme song. Just make it, not gonna lie, I wish the CR was higher. Welcome to Encounter This.
That if we ever do merch, that'll probably just be our first t-shirt. I wish it was bigger. Encounter This.
Flail Snail, I was going to throw it out there. CR3.
Boo.
Yeah, boo. Although probably easily scaled. So I like the idea of them, like usual, like the idea of them growing bigger and bigger and bigger as time wears on. 52 HP, speed of 10, very slow. AC 16 natural armor. They are large, however. Big boys. Elemental earth, of course. Unaligned. No languages, no resistances, immunity to fire and poison, immunity to poison and condition. Dark vision 60 feet, which is, pretty stark contrast to the 2E mention of the 20-foot radius of vision. However, tremor sense 60 feet, which is inline.
I'm still kind of shocked that they're elementals.
It is a bit odd, isn't it? Yeah.
I get it, but I was 100% sure these were going to be monstrosities, but it's
really?
Cool. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could see monstrosity in a way. It's just like a big snail, but it does have these extra almost supernatural effects.
Yeah, maybe one that was like warped by the plane of elemental earth or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I think there needs to be more elementals in 5e because there are not a lot.
Yeah, there really aren't. So we have the abilities to start. We'll start with the anti-magic shell, which is arguably the most interesting. The snail has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical abilities, of course, and any creature making a spell against the snail has disadvantage on the attack roll. If the snail succeeds on its saving throw, or a spell attack misses, an additional effect might occur. Roll a d6. James, roll me a d6. You got one on hand?
I got a 4.
4. Okay, 4. You have missed, and there is no additional effect. Roll me another d6 on your second spell attack.
That is a 2.
A 2. Oh, okay. Well, on a 1 to 2, if your spell was something that affected an area or multiple effects, well, it fails, and there is no effect. However, if it targeted only the snail, it has no effect on the snail and is reflected back at you using your spell slot level, spell save DC, attack bonus, and spellcasting ability.
That is so metal.
Good luck. Roll me another d6, shall we?
I got a 6.
Yeah, the snail's shell converts some of the spell's energy into a burst of destructive force. Each creature within 30 feet of the snail, presumably mostly your allies, now have to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or take 1d6 force damage per level of the spell on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one.
I already have my doubts that I'm going to agree with this challenge rating.
Right? Imagine being a high-level caster walking into a room filled with these snails, and you throw fireball down, and then you roll a 5 or 6 on your die, and suddenly, 30-foot bursts of force damage at let's assume you're casting it, I don't know, 6th level of 66 force damage, just spreading across the room.
One of these might suddenly appear in Frost Maiden.
And not to mention the fact that it completely doesn't affect the snail at all. You didn't get any of them. That could spell danger big time.
The only time it affects the snail is apparently if you roll a 3 or 4. Is that right?
No, it's if you actually hit. So that you have disadvantage on your attack rolls, or they have advantage on their saving throws. But if they succeed their saving throw, or you miss, then you roll this d6 to see the effect. So the 3 to 4 just means you've missed or no effect at all. That's it.
Yeah, so 3 to 4 and 5 to 6 is the only time it affects the snail. If you roll a 1 to 2, it doesn't affect the snail, right?
No, it never affects the snail if you're rolling the d6 at all. You've already missed, or they've already succeeded their saving throw.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why that took me so long.
No, all good.
And you have disadvantage on it, which
right.
is crazy.
So if you do strike true, or they do fail their saving throw, then you don't have to roll on this table.
Got it.
You've just hit them. Yeah. Anti-magic shell, pretty awesome. Flail tentacles. Flail snails always have 5, and if a snail takes 10 damage or more in a single turn, one of its tentacles will die. And even if one tentacle remains, the snail regrows all the dead ones within 1d4 days. However,
Oh, cool.
if all the tentacles die, the snail retracts into its shell, gaining total cover, and begins wailing, a sound that can be heard for 600 feet, and stops only 5d6 minutes later when it dies. It's a very dramatic scene in my head.
Yeah, that's something else.
For something that's unaligned and did you no harm, unless you walk up to it. Healing magic can restore its limbs, though. So something like the regeneration spell can bring these tentacles back and halt the dying process.
Interesting. Why would
Yes.
why would you try and heal it? Like, why wouldn't you just
Well, because
like you beat this thing to a pulp, it starts screaming, it retracts into its shell, and you feel bad? Like,
well,
is this
what
is
if
this creature just designed to gaslight the players?
What if you were on the side of a flail snail farmer and someone has attacked their herd and they're dying and you want to help save it? Not
I have
always.
so many more questions.
They're farming them
why would
for the glassy residue so they can make their blown glass and sell it for a living.
Okay, you've thought about this.
They're not all evil bad guys, James. Come on.
I wasn't of the opinion that they would be. I was like, what about this snail are you farming? Like, are you farming the shell? Like, because that's horrible.
No, you're not. You're definitely not farming a shell. It's that glassy residue and the vague uses of shaded glass and whatnot and blown glass.
Yeah.
The lore specifically did say that some people make a living off of gathering this residue. So why not farm them if you can?
I guess, yeah. If you've got like an abandoned mine and you don't know what to do with it, just throw a bunch of flail snails in there and wall it up.
Maisel. You have all the glassy residue you can handle.
Yeah.
Let's get to the actual attacking, though, of this creature.
Sure. That seems like a more valuable use of our time.
They have multi-attack, as you might expect. And they can attack with as many tentacles as it currently has against the same target. So get ready to fight that CR again. Flail tentacle +5, 10-foot reach, 1d6 +3 bludgeoning. So it is bludgeoning, not piercing with those spiky ball heads.
Right.
That means if your fighter runs up to it right away and it gets its turn and it hasn't taken more than 10 damage or more in a single turn yet, it can attack 5 times against your fighter or your rogue or whoever got up close with a potential of, what's that, 5d6 +15? That's not messing around.
No, that's not messing around at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here for it. I like it.
Yeah. So
that's 45 max 45 damage a turn.
Yeah, I mean at level 3-ish. So that's not a small amount. Now it's gonna lower that as you damage it because it's gonna start losing its tentacles. But
also imagine you're a level 3 fighter with 30 HP, and 4 of these tentacles could take you down. It's got a 5th one. You automatically fail a death save. Like that's nothing to shake a stick at.
Sure isn't. Yeah. A small little interesting point of this, though, is that they have 52 HP. If you happen to do 10 damage exactly 5 times or 5 turns in a row, then you could effectively kill this snail without actually bringing it to 0 HP. Because it would only bring it down to 2 HP, but now has lost all 5 of its tentacles and therefore will retract into its shell and die. Like 5d6 minutes later. So it's a weird little loophole almost. I mean, it's 2 HP difference, but I think it's the only instance I've ever seen and probably will ever see of something being killed before it's actually reached 0 HP.
Yeah. Huh.
That, of course, 52 HP is the average. That's, you know how they add in the stat blocks. You can roll for the HP or you can just choose that sort of...
Just choose max.
Number. Yeah, just choose
honestly,
max.
Just choose the max.
It's 5e, guys. Choose max. So they also have the scintillating shell ability. or attack, it does recharge in a short or long rest, and the shell emits a dazzling colored light until the end of its next turn. It sheds 30 feet bright light and an additional 30 feet dim, and creatures that can see the snail have disadvantage on attack rolls against it, and creatures in the bright light can see the activation, roll a DC 15 wisdom save, or be stunned until the light ends. So they'll effectively lose a turn.
Right.
And
Okay.
then finally, they have shell defense. So standard action, they can draw themselves into the shell. They get a +4 AC bonus to this and can emerge as a bonus action on their turn if they choose.
No, that's fucked. No, that's not it. Like, why is it +4 when they have a tentacle or a tentacle left, but total cover when they have none left? Piss off.
I knew you were gonna call that one out. I just knew it. I don't have an answer for you. I'm right there with you. That's bullshit.
The answer is total cover. When they a full action to draw themselves into their shell, they get total cover.
Yeah, fuck this +4 AC bonus nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's not Pathfinder.
Yeah. So there you go. There you go. That's the stat block in a nutshell.
Okay. So if you see a flail snail, don't fight it because it's just doing its thing. You're the asshole.
You are the asshole. Unless you really, really, really want a Spellguard shield or robes of scintillating colors.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not against you getting those things, but like it could also just die of natural causes. Like these things don't have an indefinite lifespan.
Could do.
Like, I'm going to say it right now. If you go after a flail snail, you're a poacher.
Yeah, hell yeah. Called out. Anyone listening who's ever purposely fought a flail snail, shame on you.
Yeah, you're playing the game wrong.
You take your
obviously
evil campaigns.
That's a joke, but
Yeah.
the way I see it, and the way I would run it in my campaign is that if you attack a flail snail, you will be a poacher.
Yeah. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they are just peaceful animals just rolling around eating, doing their thing. That's it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. The robes of scintillating colors are pretty cool. They basically do exactly the same thing as a scintillating shell. But you only have 3 charges and you regain 1d3 at dawn, and it costs 1 action to spend a charge. But otherwise, it's the same thing. 30 feet bright, 30 feet dim, disadvantage attack rolls, bright light, wisdom save, stunned, end of next turn, yada, yada, yada. Same thing.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool, like, defensive item.
Oh, man, it's like an oh shit button for a caster. You know, if you're suddenly surrounded, boom, hit that. Like, it's like you might be able to actually just, like, stun everyone around you, as long as they have eyes, you know? It's crazy.
So if you were to ever play a war mage, this would be, like, an automatic go-to for me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, if you're up front casting, being offensive, like, this should be your armor.
And this is, like, it's worth knowing, this is a wondrous item. It is very rare. It does require attunement.
Yeah.
Those are the categories listed with it. The other option is the Spellguard shield, also very rare, and requires attunement. And it basically, while holding the shield, it grants advantage against attack rolls and magical effects, and disadvantage to spell attacks against you. So it's pretty much these, the baseline of the anti-magic shell ability.
Yeah, these are also really powerful.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea that, like, if you because the way it was described in the lore is that a good smith or armorer can create 3 shields out of this, but the effects of the shell in the shield disappear after a month. But then you can re-enchant it. You now have an exotic shield, which seems to imply that you need some sort of exotic shield as a baseline for a Spellguard shield. I didn't quite get into it, but I know, like, also 5e doesn't have a whole lot built into its crafting mechanics. But there is that sort of, like, you have 1 month of this. I actually like to think that the 1 month you get the whole anti-magic shell effect, including that rolling on the d6. But after that month, like, you can't keep it. There's no way to keep it intact and, like, maintain that on the shield. And then from there, you can re-enchant it to at least get the baseline. Might be a cool way to be like, okay, you have this massive advantage. Now you have 1 month to get the crazy shit done and take advantage of it. But if you don't, then you won't have quite the advantage of going up against that lich or whatever the hell you're trying to do.
I think that's a great way to use that. This would be the kind of situation where you would want to throw out a party who plans. Like they sit down, they take a few moments. They take a couple of months to get their shit together. If there's no the problem I'm finding now with RPGs, specifically like Pathfinder and 5e, is that there's always this time crunch. Like I never actually feel like there's any long-term downtime in the games that I'm playing. That being said, we've been playing a lot of pre-written modules, and they don't really seem to be written into the modules. It's very go, go, go. So, going out, finding a flail snail, murdering it for its shell, having its shell crafted, like finding a crafter who can actually do it, and then going on your adventure and hoping your adventure takes less than 30 days, 90 days.
A portion of this adventure is literally preparation for the rest of the adventure. I love that. I think it's fun.
I love it too. It just doesn't feel like there's a lot of room for it in the current editions. At least in modules. In homebrew, it's totally different. But in the modules that we've been playing and the adventure we're playing in Pathfinder 2, it doesn't feel like we have that luxury, which kind of sucks because it just negates a whole mechanic of these games. Yeah.
You made me think of that time crunch. It's so funny. Like in our current Pathfinder game, you guys you guys do go, and you have some reason to go, but you almost don't know what the reason is, or you don't know, if that reason is going to repeat itself. And it's a sort of self-imposed time crunch, I keep trying to go out of my way to say, you have all the freedom in the world to take a week off, by all means.
Oh yeah.
Right?
It's not on you. It's
just, I go out of my way
adventurers in the situation we're in. And that's Stemming the Tide is the name of that show. In that adventure, we as players, yes, you're absolutely right. It's a self-imposed time crunch, but it's this fear of the unknown, and something really terrible happened really fast in the adventure. Yeah, I think episode 10 or 11.
Yes, it started like 10 or 11.
Yeah, which are both out now. So like trying to avoid that from happening again is a pretty huge priority for us.
Exactly. And that's the time crunch you have. You're like, okay, we want to make sure that doesn't happen again. But you don't know if it will or can even is the unknown part, right? But like that might just add to the sense of foreboding, that like you
it
said,
really
that
does.
mystery.
Yeah. And as somebody who's playing I'm essentially playing a paladin. It doesn't make sense to through, like, I can't, as somebody who's essentially playing a paladin, I can't let harm come to others through inaction, which is what
right
my young paladin would think of as a week off. Like, she's not experienced enough in life to know that preparation is doing something.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's it. Like that probably is not a week off of like putting your feet up and reading a book. It could be a week off of crafting and preparing and sourcing resources and organizing stuff to be more prepared going forward. And like that could be, depending on the perspective, could be seen as action and not inaction. But
that's how I would see it. But my like I said, I'm playing a very young paladin who's very young to adventure as well as life. I think she's in her early 20s, and it she hasn't learned that preparation counts as action.
Fair enough. Yeah, I measured at her age, she's been training, and then out in the field, and then spoilers, I guess, a little bit injured. Took some time off. Now back to it. Like, probably maybe, I don't know if she feels guilt about having taken the time off, but out of necessity. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. Really like going the extra mile to avoid inaction, just in case.
Yeah, just in case, because paladins are so volatile, especially in Pathfinder. Like, And I'm playing the paladin like I would expect my players to play a paladin, where you should live every minute like you're afraid that your god is going to take your powers away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, fear to some degree, but also like, the reason you get your power at all was just through pure dedication. So it's like, it's like you so fully encompass and believe in this pushing forward. That it's not even just the letting down or the failing of your god. You be failing yourself and everything you've worked towards.
Yeah, there's a lot of reverence in her. We shouldn't talk that much about her because she hasn't debuted on the show yet.
It's true. She's coming real close though, so I think it'll be fine.
I think it might be next episode, which will be out before this drops.
Perfect. Okay, so we're good then.
I think so. I need to check my notes to confirm that, but it's real close.
Right. Well, seeing as I were completely off topic.
Yeah.
Don't poach. And thanks for listening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, other than the shelled events making that total defense, I don't think I would change anything about this creature. I would be wary about using it as a 3E creature or as a third. I would be worried about using it as a CR3 creature, but I think it's actually pretty close to appropriate if you have like a solid like varied party makeup. Like if you have a couple of casters, one is a utility caster, one is an aggression caster, and you've got a couple of melee characters. Like if you've got a party of all spellcasters, like maybe wait till 4th level.
Yeah, just be on the safe side a little bit. Yeah.
But I mean, even at 4th level, you're gonna have 2nd level spells. So even if you're gonna start tuning this snail up pretty quick.
Yeah. This could be a reminder encounter to your party that just because you have entered initiative doesn't mean you have to finish the encounter. You have to see it through to the end. And if the rolls go really wrong for this like casting forward party, like, they might have to just turn tail and go, you know what? We can outrun this extremely slow creature. It was real easy to creep up on. So like, and why have we attacked to begin with? Is it because we want the shell, or is it because it was nearby? Or did we get too close because we were curious? Like, it could be a good opportunity to teach a small like life lesson there. You're just kind of like, this is just, yes, it's an elemental, but it is essentially just random fauna walking around feeding itself, and you do not need to fight it.
Yeah, you guys as a party are actually pretty good about that. I often have encounters set up where you experience something and it's not you don't act on it in a hostile way, and you just let it be, and the encounter never manifests.
Right. Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, we're not murder hobos for animals.
No. As a second there's a consciousness involved, it changes.
There's blood on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. But I'm with you. I don't think I'd change much of anything. I think it's easily scalable how it's built. If you want to up the damage a bit, if you want to increase the DC for the wisdom save or some such, the con save. But otherwise, change to the total cover thing and call it a day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and if you want to, if you want to just give it a +4 to AC, maybe it's flails can't fit it in its shell or whatever reason you have for it. We trust you, but if you disagree with it, we absolutely want to hear about it. You can always shoot us an email at info@encounterthis.ca. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at EncounterPod. You can find us on Instagram at encounter.pod. You can find our backlog of episodes. Maybe you want to... I don't even know how to tie this into our back catalog, but you can find all of our back catalog at encounterthis.ca. If you really liked it, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/encounterpod. $5 a month gets you a handwritten thank you letter and access to our show notes. For $10 a month, you can suggest a creature like our most recent outing, the Goro Jumo from 13th Age, because it doesn't have to be a D&D exclusive creature. It can be from any system. It may just take us a while to get there if you want to I don't know if you want to do a Cthulian creature from Delta Green. Like, we don't have any real experience with that system, so it would take us quite a while to get there. But we will get there. And I haven't talked to Freeman about this, but I do want to give a big shout out to Erica in Glasses. She is a manufacturer of handmade resin dye that are available on Etsy. She sent me a set of the mini polyhedral dye and is sort of our unofficial sponsor of this episode. And they are really, really cool, really fantastic. They come in this tiny little jar. And I'll be taking them on camping trips from here on out. So whenever I'm backpacking through the British Columbia Isles, if I've got 5 or 6 days out, I'll be there with a small D&D adventure and a smaller set of dice. If you ever encounter me on the trail and you want to have a 5e night, I will be ready for you.
I just picture you on the solo hike. You just set up a campfire. Like, well, it's time to roll up some character stats. Just pull out your dice.
It's not far off. When Jess and I did the West Coast Trail, I had a little one-on-one adventure written in a little set of tiny dice and a couple of pre-made characters, and I didn't print them all out, but I kept the character sheets downloaded to my phone.
Nice. Yeah, that's hilarious.
And I had the adventure mostly memorized, and it would. We never ended up doing it. We spent most of our time reading and sleeping because it's fucking exhausting.
Yeah.
But big shout out to her. We will throw a link to her Etsy shop in the episode description. They're really, really nice dice, and they're, like I said, they're all hand cast, made out of resin, and they're made right here in Toronto. Oh well, they're made right here in Canada. So check her out. She's also a streamer, pretty prolific on Twitch. Well, relatively prolific on Twitch. So big thanks to her for sending us some nifty trinkets.
Yeah, sweet.
And we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you in 2 weeks for another a return to ancient Greece. Dun,
Really?
Dun, dun.
Oh no. James covers the homebrew creature, Love Dart.
No.